Yep, let's go.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order at 9:31. Approval of minutes. So motion to accept the minutes from May 28th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for May 28th.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on to financial report.
With Mike Pierce not being here, I will give the financials again. Income for May was 92,000, with interest on loans totaling about 25,000. Bad debt recovery and fees were 6,700. Income and investments was 57,000. Expenses were 19,230, leaving the net income of 73,000, which is way better than last year or last month. The balance sheet shows the accounts receivable to be 5.9 million, with investment accounts of 4.1 million. And with the inclusion of long-term lease liabilities, total assets, liabilities, and equity amount, it brings it to our 10,323,000. And that's pretty much it. Nothing unusual. We have had a couple loans pay off, I believe.
Yes.
Or was it junior? I don't know. Garland City paid off. That was a good one. Or River Hens.
Yeah. I don't know the CEO report. It's on there somewhere. Oh, yes, we do. Ignore me.
I'm sorry, we could bring it up then.
Yeah, we had House of Beauty pay off and then River Hens paid off last month. So with the customer loan report, I scanned out the condensed version. Again, 616 Lorraine, we still not received it. I have spoken to him. It doesn't seem like we were going to get payment until his divorce is finalized. Denise McLean, again, she's on auto payment, so we do receive it. It's just always late. And then the eatery, we have sent a demand letter. It's with the attorneys right now. I guess the request is on the demand letter. And she also, I did let her know ahead of time. She did respond back, and I'll be responding, I guess, again with her. But it sounds like she wants to do a payment plan. Again, she's like, oh, if it's going to collections, she's like, who's the collection agency? I don't think she understands the demand letter. It's just like the first step in it. So I will get in contact with her again. I just received that email like 15 minutes ago. So that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, for 616 Lorraine LLC, on the customer loan report that was sent out, principal balance is 1,060.75, but then on the sheet you're just handed out, it's higher. Is that like late fees and?
The one that's on the customer loan report would be the correct one, so I must have just missed it when we received the last big set of payment. Which he did come in, what, it was like 3 months ago, right? Can you look up his balance? Oh, I can. I think I can get QuickBooks. He owes just over 1,000, so the one from the actual customer loan report would be the correct dollar amount.
Like 1,050 or something like that.
Yeah.
There were late fees that we have added, so that might account for a little bit. Looking real quick.
So he basically said, I'm not paying you for a while. And this one's kind of frustrating to me because it's always on the list, it's always behind.
Yes.
I imagine you're constantly, or somebody's always every month calling and wasting a lot of staff time.
Yes.
Call,
And
remind them and ask them to pay.
it's been like this about my entire career
Yeah.
with this one loan. Thankfully, Yeah.
$160.75 is the principal balance.
And then we can make a decision, hey, do we want to set it, because technically he is, it's in default, technically. So there should be the default interest rate also being added to it. I think in the past we just haven't done that, but maybe that's why we're in the situation that we're in, since we haven't done that in the past. I'm okay with being more aggressive.
And she has been.
I understand working with people and not, for $1,000, you don't want to get
Yeah.
attorneys involved because you spend
It's
that
gonna spend more.
Yeah.
in no time, but.
This one's just very frustrating, especially the way he worded things. And if I had just, when it supports his final and the payment, and that's not really his decision to make. So.
Okay, anything else from anybody? Okay, then we'll move on to committee reports, loan review committee.
Oh, can we get a,
Oh, I'm sorry, we need a motion to approve the financial reports. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, now moving on to committee reports, loan review.
Okay, so since Marshall isn't here, I will review it. So we had a loan request from the Treehouse Child Care Center for the amount of $236,080. This will be a 20-year term with 6% fixed interest rate. She is looking at purchasing the building located at 1833 State Street. This will allow her to open an additional infant toddler room, and it's going to be a, what is the word for it?
Administrative offices, move some of those over.
But the room,
Oh, continuity of care.
thank you.
Yes.
So, and we actually went on Monday and toured her current location.
Extremely impressed.
Yes.
That's what I've heard about.
There were like 90 littles in there.
And
It
just
was
even like the security,
the
things they have in place, I mean, it's a very well-run
Mhm.
pre-K and child care center. We probably spent like, what, 2 hours there on Monday touring it, and they make all the, they have a kitchen, a commercial kitchen there, so they actually make the food for the kids too, which I think is amazing, because we all know how picky kids can be, so, she has that focus on it. But this will be a participation loan with Watertown Savings Bank. They have not approved it yet, it hasn't gone to the loan review committee. And again, if we approve it today, it'll be contingent on, their approval, and also contingent on it being appraised correctly. Does anyone have any questions on it?
We just wanted to get it in because July is.
We don't have the work.
Yeah, she came in and presented to the loan committee, and I was impressed with her vision for filling a gap in childcare, which is certainly part of the workforce infrastructure, right? Helps people gain and maintain employment. She's got a vision for how she's building this out. I was impressed. It's not an easy business to be in.
No. And even talking to her when we were there, she has, even past like this expansion, she has other things that she wants to do, so. And the fact that she wants to have that special education piece in the future is huge, because most, like, my nephew is autistic, and having child care for someone that has any type of special needs is not always easy.
That's correct.
And also, and she also has a space in her current location where if they do have any services, they can come in, and there's a place for the OT or PT to come in and do any services with children, which is amazing.
When you said continuity of care at the beginning, what did you mean by that?
So the room is going to have, so it'll be the same teachers for infants up until toddler, so that way it has the one teacher the whole time, or I should say multiple teachers, because I think it's one infant, or one teacher can have 3 infants.
Is it 4?
2.
4.
4?
I think it's 4.
Okay, and then once they hit, I think the age of 2, it goes up, but, it will only be the one classroom in the new location, and then her admin offices will also be in there.
We saw more people though than.
Yes.
And they were all so cute. I love the grandbabies. Anyway, I digress.
One thing that I think bears more conversation with her, like at a bigger picture level, to our city friends, is she talked about these tax credits that she's able to get if she cares for children of her employees. And then she went on to say that it would be a model that she could build over time with for-profit businesses in which there are significant tax credits for contracting with her organization to care for their children. I think it's an interesting model if she rolls that out, because we know that some employers have tried to start their own childcare, and it didn't last long, because it's a tough business to be in. You need to really know what you're doing and all the regs, and it's expensive. But I feel like there's more conversation that could be had around that, didn't you?
Yes.
I feel like that's a thing that we need to learn more about and get her out talking about what that might
Yes.
look like.
And we talked to her a little bit about that, and it's, the tax credit is like 50%. She sent me the link to explain it further that I have not looked at yet. But she's like, I would be willing to go into these businesses, and she would just run the daycare. She'd hire the people, because it is very hard with all of the regulations that they have to go through. Yeah.
Mhm.
And she's like, that's something she'd be willing to hire and be in control with, and then work something as far as explaining how if the employer was paying for the daycare center, then they can discount the childcare rates, and because we all know how expensive also childcare is in general. But there are so many things that she talked about, and it was a lot that I think people don't know, because I had no idea, and that was one thing I had asked, because when I was looking at everything, the income for year one was significantly different than 2 and 3, and then she's like, oh, it's because of the tax credit of opening the new business, and then she can write off, it's like 50% of the cost of the new building and stuff like that, so, which I don't think people are aware of at all, because I wasn't.
Yeah, I feel like any of us involved in workforce development might benefit from a conversation with her and maybe a couple of others at the table to get a better sense of what that looks like and how, if it's appropriate for us to help her get that word out and how we would do so.
Yeah.
I felt there was some real potential there. I left feeling excited. There's an opportunity.
There's such a desert with this across the state. It's a great business strategy, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And really could take off if she markets it well.
And she has, what was it, 200 on her?
Waiting list.
Yeah, so on her, just infant and toddler, it's a 200.
That's a huge
And that's just
And
local.
toddlers, the.
That's
Yeah, so that's just local.
Very difficult. Like, I didn't know that until I had my daughter, and then I started calling around, and they were like, we'll put you on the waiting list. I'm like, we're waiting list.
Yes, when your child is 4, you can take them, yeah.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, when she found out she was pregnant with my youngest nephew, she got on a waiting list, and she still had to stay home for 6 months until both could get into daycare, so
That's terrible.
it's
But
not
we
easy.
frequently hear from, and it's usually women, that lose their place in the workforce because there is no care, or they find care, but it's such an exorbitant cost that they can't
Correct.
maintain their employment. And it's just a kind of a unfair playing field, right? We've got to figure that piece out.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good start, I mean, her model is a good start, if we can get, as you said, the word out there more about what she's doing.
If you have any subsequent meetings with her or any kind of community forums, I would love to be part of that.
Okay.
That really lends itself to Alice, which is near and dear to our heart, our United Way, and
Yeah.
I feel like there might be a role in some kind of collaborative effort.
Yeah, we can also always, I mean, if you have time, we can always schedule it too, because it was very easy to schedule us to go and do our little
Yeah.
field trip, so.
And she was happy to go speak with any businesses when
Yeah.
we were talking with her, and, it was,
It was just like a.
we were impressed. And,
Yeah.
and while we were there, the blimp flew over and the little kids were
Oh.
coming up.
It was so cute.
And they were on the little ropes, and every doorway they go through, they have to go, it's probably a thing, I don't know, 1 in the name, 2 in the name, through each
Yeah.
one of them, through every
Yeah.
doorway, which
And
I
multiple
wouldn't be
teachers.
able to do because we got,
What's your name?
I don't remember all those names, but it was
Yeah.
impressive. Like, I would feel comfortable with a child or grandchild there, so.
Does she have just the one location that's over by Jean's Beans?
Yes, and then she has, but then she also does something, with Ohio Street, right? Yes, Ohio Street, she has separate.
The
The
place.
UPK.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
UPK, yeah.
And then a lot of those kids, she said, come from the UPK back to the building. Cause they need daycare afterwards.
So we grilled Kylie about this one because it's a pretty big dollar amount, and you assured us that there's plenty of cash, right? That you're not concerned about that, so.
I have a question about that. So our business plan says that she serves 33 preschool children that are reimbursed by the school district through the Universal Pre-K program, grant funds. And also in here, she lists what the reimbursement rates are for that, which it's $870 a month for 4-year-olds, $710 a month for 3-year-olds, over a 10-month period. If I did my math right, that's like $250,000 in revenue, which is great, obviously, for her, for business, but I had heard that in the proposed budget for the school district, that they had proposed to cut all funding for universal pre-K, and that they wanted to do that work in-house rather than contract it out, and so they put some of the UPK applications on hold. So like ARC, I think, has one, Treehouse has one, and there might be other smaller outfits that do it, but I'm just concerned that if that in fact happens and they lose that source of revenue, does it affect her ability to, her business operations and her ability to repay the loan?
So
Did that come up at all?
it did,
Yeah,
um,
and that was my concern going
Yes.
into the meeting. I had a sidebar conversation about that. But the financials that she shared
do not,
they're not inclusive of the UPK. And where UPK sounds lucrative, that's money in and money out, right? You use that money to pay your teachers and to buy supplies. And so not offering that care means there's a lot less expenses. But the financials that we're looking at here do not include
Correct.
UPK. It's just for this new
the new building.
operation on State Street. Is that
So the
correct?
new
Kylie?
That is correct, so she was having it separate because, so the, historical financials obviously include all of it, but with going forward, to make it a more clear picture, she did only the actual building. And even looking at the way the reimbursable, the stuff that she still does qualify for, I don't believe it will affect her ability to pay for. Because
So
you're right.
these revenues are strictly what she makes at this building with the infants and the toddlers?
Yeah,
Okay.
And she could, with the 200 kid waiting list,
Yeah.
probably fill in any of the gaps.
And I believe year one is the revenue is higher because of a tax credit for the renovation
yeah,
of
the
the
purchase and
building.
renovations of the building. Cause I believe the tax credit, if I read it right, was 50%.
That's a really good question, Mike, because I was
Yeah,
it was some of the publicity around
I
that,
know.
some of the social media,
So
and
it was a conversation that,
but
yeah,
it,
we had
it
before.
really felt very much like a separate entity from what we were looking at.
Has anyone, have you heard what, if that went through? I heard that it could be, there might be changed, and they're gonna put it
I
back
have not
in.
heard.
No,
I don't know.
How does that, well, okay, that's fine if it doesn't affect this, but just, how would it affect her existing operation?
She made it seem that it really wouldn't be affecting, because as John was saying, it is the money in and money out. So the money she receives is all, it also, the dollar amount she receives is very low from my understanding. So it doesn't really cover all of that much. So she made it seem that it would be without it. Because I guess
How
it
does
hasn't been,
affect staff, though, I mean, she had to let
Yeah.
people off.
she would have to, but with turnover rate in general, I believe they would just fill it, because like this new position, or the new building would be 3 new employees. So if you take away Ohio Street, you would just reallocate that to a different spot. Also, if you look at who they have on staff, quite a few of them are also like college students right now, so those aren't all, they're gonna have to the summer and then have to be hiring again in the fall. Cause she did say that, obviously getting quality employees right now is an issue, I think, across the board, no matter what industry you're in. So,
Well, childcare doesn't traditionally pay.
yes.
You know, it's a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that was kind of the conversation we had the other day around the whole UPK program and how it has been, hasn't been any raises and increases in that funding in, I think, like 10 years.
I don't know if it gives you any solace, Mike, but I guess we're not in unless Watertown Savings Bank is in, right?
Yes.
So that's really kind of what,
Yeah, that's true.
kind of what I ended up designing myself to.
Let's see what their
Her pitch was really
perspective.
impressive and her vision, and
Right.
I came into it very skeptical and found myself, wow.
Like excited.
This sounds
afterwards.
like there's
Yeah.
just so much growth opportunity here.
I mean, she's been, you know, existing loan, paying that.
And this would actually be the third, so her first loan with us was 10 years ago. I believe it was 10 years ago. She had a $40,000 micro loan with us, and paid it off. And then she has the building that they're currently in, which is a loan with us. So this would be her third loan.
And she's
And
on
she's
ACH.
always, yeah, she's also on ACH, but she's always, we've never had an issue with her as far as, collecting payments. She's never somebody we had to like follow up with and, stuff like that, so. Her past, I guess, really makes me comfortable with it.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve this.
I'll put forth a motion to approve the loan for Treehouse Child Care Center LLC.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to new business. Any new business? Okay, CEO report.
Let me get to that. So, the month of May was a little slower, because I was on vacation for part of it and then was in Arizona. But we've had a lot of customer visits, talking to Cyril, we are in a good financial standing currently. He knows what we have upcoming as far as loan closings, to make sure that we have those funds available. Social media was probably, we had our largest social media growth this past month. Our giveaway there's a lot of hype that we did around Jump and Go, is kind of testing it out to see what we're doing on social media and if it's working. It is, so, which was exciting, but we had nearly 60% growth, just last month alone. We're at like a little over 900 at the current moment. And at the end of last month, it was 899. So it's now also growing organically where we aren't, even without us doing like the giveaways during the slower times, it's still growing on its own. And we had somebody when we were touring Treehouse, and she's like, oh my gosh, I follow your Facebook page. And it took me a second because I was not expecting that at all. And she gets so fun. And I looked at Joy at first, I was like, oh, she's not.
And she was just a young,
Yeah, she was
probably
just somebody-
college student, whatever.
hanging out with babies in there, so that was a little shocking, I wasn't expecting. But so we'll continue to do those, the giveaways over the summer are going to be for the VIP section for the block party, since we do the $10,000 sponsor, we have, 10 VIP tickets, so we're doing 2 each month, because again, we also, I'll be working the block party, so I'll be up there anyways. ACH payments, I feel like that is made, we're still at 9 that are enrolled in it, but it has significantly decreased our past due reports. As you see, we're down to just 3 that are consistently on there. I feel like those are the big things. Missing anything?
I think you mentioned this, but any new loans are required to do the ACH, is that true, or?
We are going to be doing that, yes. So as they're approved, it is going to be a requirement, so that way a strong, should be strongly
Strong
encouraged, because I don't think
recommendation.
we can technically require it.
There are some of the larger businesses that would prefer to still write checks.
But for the most part, it makes it a lot easier, because then we're not, I mean, it makes Joy's life a little bit harder, but overall, it makes my life easier because of collections.
A lot of numbers.
Sorry.
It's all right.
But yeah, it's something we're gonna strongly encourage, I should say. I don't believe we can actually have that as a topic.
Can't require it?
Can't mandate it?
I don't think so. I believe if you can't mandate it, some people do like an extra percentage off or whatever their interest rate, but, which again, I don't know how to do, so we're just gonna continue to strongly encourage. But most people want it set up that way, except as Joy said, the bigger businesses sometimes do like to still write the checks, so they have that paper trail.
One other question with the jumping goat, you've done a lot of marketing for him, did he have any of that in his plan? Did he do any marketing on his own, or is that all
Oh, yeah,
a
so
result
he,
of you guys?
so definitely, he did a lot on his own, so he started his Facebook page from the day one, so when they dropped the dumpster off, there was a post about the dumpster. Obviously, he also wasn't sharing or anything like that. He has his own personal social media following that really has engaged in it all, but I do think we had a big part. He did go with me to JCC for when I presented, so that helped a lot. We posted a lot about him, so I'd say it's definitely a combination.
He's
He's
very-
rounds with the radio stations.
He
I
makes,
saw
so him and his
that.
daughter, they do the rounds of the radio station.
He's very good with marketing.
He's just that person, he'll put himself out there, and what did he tell me the other day? You have to be afraid, don't be afraid to make yourself look like an idiot or something, was what he was saying, but just putting himself out there, he's just not afraid to do it.
I should be a influencer.
But, because we were just talking about it, and I mean, the business that they've been doing is far surpasses what he originally projected as far as us. But
You know, you're gonna need some sort of traffic something there, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes it's blocked up both roadways.
they are getting faster, they are encouraging more people to, order ahead of time. And there is a big difference, so we've gone through or ordered ahead of time, or ordering there, and it's 2 seconds that you order ahead of time, or it's a minute or 2 you're waiting for your drink to be made. So I think as the word gets out there, also as more people know, hey, order online ahead of time, because there's no menus. If you go up there's no menus actually outside.
He said that he had menu boards to put out there.
He did, and I don't know if he's still planning on that.
That make it easier.
Because again, a lot of people are getting up there not knowing what to order.
Right.
But social media, I think, is a key part of why his is as successful as it is. Because I have people all the time asking me about jumping goat. My son, if you drive by, or if he stuck the sticker on my iPad, so every time he's like, oh, jumping goat, and my son's obsessed with it, so yeah. He'll be like, Mom, what's the jumping goat? And we're not driving to Watertown. But he's 5, so distance means nothing.
Okay. So the only other thing I'll say, somewhat related to the CEO's report, Joy and Kylie came to city council and presented during one of our work sessions.
That's nice.
I did a nice job. I thought you'd get more questions, but nobody really had many questions. But it was good to get you in front of the council, I thought, talking about everything you're doing, so that was appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was also, I was prepared for more questions. I was like, okay.
Yes, but it was good to have you there. All right, any old business? Okay, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?